Now my son got here just a little bit ago to take the dogs and wife out for their evening walk. Well, I grabbed him real quick and had him come up and help me turn that wing over top side up. I just spread that fabric out. I've got it kind of lined up on the leading edge with where it's going to be glued down. And of course I've got plenty hanging over the trailing edge. Then I took some little spots of Polytack and just put down here and there to kind of spot weld that thing down so that we can flip it over, and then I'll glue this backside down. Tonight's movie night, so when he comes back from walking the dogs, we're going to watch a movie. Maybe when we're all done with that, I'll come out here and look at this again and see whether I want to go ahead and glue that leading edge down where it's at, or whether I want to turn this over and glue this trailing edge down first. I had my son help me flip that wing over right side up, and I laid that fabric out there and kind of spot welded it down with some Polytack in a few spots on the leading edge and a couple spots back there on the false spar. And my plan was to flip it back over and glue down that false spar area in the trailing edge of the wing, and then come and have him flip it back over again and glue down the leading edge. But once I got to looking at it, I had that leading edge just laid out just perfect for gluing it down. I decided I'd go ahead and just glue that leading edge down, and it taken me about a half an hour or so to glue that leading edge down. I've got it glued down pretty good, a 2-inch strip, a little more than a 2-inch strip. And I started out in the middle and went towards the butt rib and pulled the fabric that direction, and then I come back in the middle and come back this way. And working right-handed the way I am, it would have been just as well to work from this end that way. Because once I come to the middle and started working this way, it was kind of off balance a little bit. But I got it done, and I got down here to the wingtip leading edge skin that I put on, and then I started getting some wrinkles in it. So I'm going to have to heat form this around this wingtip. Of course, I knew I was going to have to do that. In the morning when Carl comes out, I'll have him flip that wing back over bottom side up, and then I'll glue down that false spar, that area to the false spar there. So far it's looking pretty good. I don't have any major wrinkles or anything in it. It's nice and smooth across that leading edge. And I'll take the iron on it and smooth it all out. I went over it once with the rag with some MEK on it and cleaned up the excess Polytack. I always put more than enough on there and squeeze it out. Make sure it comes through the weave and out this side, and then squeezes out down around the seam there on the bottom. Tomorrow I'll take the iron and clean that up and smooth that out. What little wrinkles there are in there and stuff, and high spots and low spots, we'll get that worked down. Flip it over and work on the other side on the false spar and get that glued down. And then once it's glued down, then I can go ahead and form this wingtip around the wingtip bow and glue it down around the outside edge of the wingtip bow, but then I'll have to flip it over and glue it on the back side of the wingtip bow, on the inside of the wingtip bow, and get that done. Anyway, making progress. Like I said, it only took about a half an hour, maybe a little bit longer, to get everything set up and get that thing glued down. Pretty happy with the way it went. We turned this wing over, and you can really notice a difference in it now with the fabric on it, even though it's turned over, and you still have it open on the bottom side. I've got the fabric glued onto the leading edge there on the front, and then draped around back here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and mark this fabric here where to make the cut. It's plenty long enough here, more than long enough, so I've got to cut it off to fit to where I want to glue it on to this false spar back here. But anyway, like I said, it made a big difference looking at it the way it is now from what it was. I'll go ahead and start setting this thing up kind of to figure out where to cut it. I've got a line that I put in here yesterday on this false spar where I want the fabric to go up to, basically just about halfway up this false spar. It's hard to see that line, the pencil line here on the green on this false spar on this. Primered paint really hard to see where the line is. Now what do I do with my pencil? There it is. But when I run it over this anti-chafing tape, that's still white there, then I can see the line pretty good there. So I'll take and mark it on that. So I need there we go. That'll make a difference on it. That might work. I've got this UHMW. Actually, this is some melamine that I'd cut off from the radial arm saw table when I made the radial arm saw table. If I put that on my knees, get this little stool up as high as it'll go. Let's see how this works. No, not tall enough. Almost. Well, let's see what else we can do here. I need something to bring my knees up high enough to hold this board up. That'll work better. Alrighty. So a little bit of a transition here as we get over that sawhorse there. Now I'll get some Polytack and go over that line so that it doesn't fray when I cut it. Okay, I'll let that Polytack dry before I cut that line, but we got a pretty good strip to cut off of there. And Well, I guess it's time to get started here, putting this fabric up here. It only requires an inch seam here on this trailing edge, but I'm going to coat this whole thing with glue and glue the whole thing up, just because tough spot. Where's my squeegee here? I gotta find a fresh razor blade. I've got this fabric right up to this hinge here, so that it fills in that gap around that hinge, and so that stops it from going up nice and tight. Yeah, this is a lot easier on this section here where there's no, where the curve isn't quite the same. This is just a straight curve instead of that concave curve like the aileron false bar is. Okay, that's glued on there now. You let that set up. Now I got to take the iron and go around to the front side on the leading edge and iron that out and clean that side up. We'll let this side cure up before we do it. But that is enough polytacking for now. I'm going to dump the excess polytack back in the container here.